We are live.
Hi guys.
Hello, welcome to the podcast. I'm John,
And I'm Hayley.
and this is the Speed Mooting Partners in Crime podcast.
Episode 87.
87. So, for the regulars, you'll know that we like to start by naming the episodes. We scraped the barrel a little bit last week, and we were back onto WWE wrestlers with the years of the birth, etc. We are back for the first time in, well, actually, to be fair, it's only been 6 episodes. But for the first time in 6 episodes on Formula One drivers.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
A current Formula One driver?
A current Formula One driver.
All right, I've got to get this.
Okay, so you've got a 1 in 20 chance of getting this, to be fair. So, Formula One driver. So, he is one of 4 Brits on the grid. He currently drives for Haas.
Oh.
He made his debut last year for Ferrari.
Oh. He's dead young, isn't he?
Very young.
Ollie Behrman.
Ollie Behrman.
Yes.
Yeah. So, yeah, Ollie Behrman, very promising up-and-coming driver. Obviously scored points in his debut last year. Scored points for Haas last year as well.
Oh.
And has had a fair few good finishes this year as well. So, definitely a star for the future. Ferrari young driver. So, could be driving for Ferrari at some point in the future, I would imagine.
Have you watched the race that you missed in Mexico yet?
No, still haven't watched it, the Brazilian Grand Prix.
Yeah, apparently it was a really good one, wasn't it? And you were going to watch it.
Yeah, I wanted to see it because Max was starting from the pit lane, and you always know Brazil, Max starting low, he's on for a good outcome.
And where did he finish? Spoiler alert, by the way.
Spoiler alert. I mean, to be fair, at this point, it's about 2 or 3 weeks old, so people will know. But I think he got on the podium, so he finished third, I think.
Wow.
And last year, he started 17th and won. Ooh. So, he's got a knack for starting low and winning and doing well in this Grand Prix.
Wow. He's not my favourite driver, Max, but you can't deny
the talent.
The skill and the talent is insane.
He's insane. I mean, you saw, about a month or so ago, he just jumped into some other racing series.
Yeah.
And won.
When we were at the airport coming home from our honeymoon in Mexico, there was, what was it? The big
racing simulator.
A racing simulator at the airport, and John had to have a go, of course. So John was racing around, and it was really noisy, and it was like a real car, wasn't it? Because it it had hydraulic.
It had hydraulic actuators and everything.
So when John was braking, it was like do do do. And at one point, John had an audience of these 10, 20 blokes all watching him on this racing simulator. It was so funny.
It was good, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So anyway, welcome to episode 87, the Ollie Behrman special.
Welcome.
So, we're jumping in this week, aren't we, Hayley, with a bit of a special all about common mistakes made by aspiring lawyers.
Yes.
So, I mean, we've documented this well. Hayley and I took a long time to break into this profession. Didn't really come to it with any of the privileges that a lot of people do. Not that, to be fair, not that there's anything wrong with that, to be fair. It's...
I'm proud of that fact.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So it was particularly hard, but then, there's obviously things that you can do that can help yourself boost your own chances, etc. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. Some of the mistakes that are often made, how you can learn from them, and how you can boost your chances of breaking into this profession.
Definitely. And no matter what happens, you listen to this episode today, you make copious amounts of notes and you say, okay, I'm not going to do any of those things. You'll probably do something else wrong.
Yeah.
It's part of the journey. It's part of the process. No one's perfect. No one's infallible. Definitely not aspiring lawyers, not qualified lawyers either. No. We've talked about this on previous episodes, haven't we? But mistakes are normal. So if you do make mistakes, as long as you learn from them, then it's not a wasted opportunity.
No, not at all.
Quite the opposite. And, if you listen to this and think, oh, I do that, I'm guilty of that, it's fine. We've all been there. Most of these mistakes, John and I can only talk about because we went through them ourselves. So no judgment here.
Absolutely. And the point as well is, you're on your own journey. I'm going to sound all philosophical here and all this, aren't I? But I talk about these mistakes and think, I could have done that, and it would have streamlined my process. But if you think about it, it would change where I am today. If I'd have done these things differently, if I'd have made it to the bar much sooner, if I'd have got to the bar at 21, 22, 23, 24, whatever, obviously not 21, but 22, 23, 24, I wouldn't be hosting a speed meeting podcast right now. I wouldn't be running everything that we're doing. Wouldn't have built up all the connections that I have. Wouldn't have had the practice that I have now. So everything happens for a reason. So just because you make those mistakes and things happen, don't panic.
Yep.
You know, all we're doing is we're giving advice that hopefully you can implement and it might be helpful for you.
Yeah. Do you want to go first, John?
Yeah, I think the first piece of advice I would give is when you're at university, get involved. Okay. So
remember, this is mistakes. So don't not get involved.
Well, yeah, don't not get involved. Okay. So I suppose the point then is don't focus solely on exam results.
Yes.
Okay. Which kind of I think I focused on just the degree itself to the detriment of everything else. Which is fine, you know, I came out with a good degree from a good university. But it meant that my CV was lacking in other areas.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, if we're saying the mistake is, well, don't focus solely on the university. Well, think about, well, what can you do?
Yeah.
So I didn't really get involved properly within any societies. And, you know, just that point alone, you know, that's worth so much, because if you can get a position, it's a position of responsibility. All the pupillage forms ask about it, and I think I've spoken about this before. If you look at ways that you can, you know, say if you were able to get a relevant job on the side, and that's not always possible. It's difficult to get a job in a law firm or what have you. I did deliveries and what else did I do while I was at uni? I worked at Primark, and you know, those built some good valuable skills for me. But if you can, you know, try and get some relevant work experience as well. As I say, it's not the end of the world, because you know, it's not always possible, and you got to make money however you can make money, haven't you? But yeah, so number one, my main piece of advice: don't just focus solely on the exams. And I'm not saying neglect your exams, because you need a good result. You'll be, if you focus on everything else to the detriment of your university, well, you've got probably a bigger problem there.
Yes.
But yeah, don't focus solely on that, so you miss out on everything else.
Yes. My first common mistake for people to avoid, I'm not 100% sure how to word this, so you might help me word it better, John, because obviously you're the barrister, you're the public speaker. But don't just be a complainer and accept things that don't work or that aren't fair.
Yeah.
Like, we know, as we say, we didn't come from a legal background. We didn't know anybody that could, you know, get us some experience or help us get the foot in the door. We didn't have anything like that. And if we would have just sat back and said, and this is what I hear people do, and it's a bit of a gripe, it's not fair, I can't get any experience. Yeah. There's no experience for me. I've tried to get placements, I've tried to get pupillages, and I can't. It's not fair. You can't, like, that's the case. It's competitive. It's not completely equal. It's not completely fair. Don't just complain about it, you know. Do something about it. Think outside the box. So I didn't get a professional vacation scheme. Nope. So I got every other piece of work experience that I could get. I worked at Assistant Advice Bureau. I volunteered at Warrington City Council. I managed to get some experience there. It was just sitting and looking at files and going to court with the solicitors and stuff, but it was valuable. I put it on my CV. I used that to rule out family law as an area for me, because I knew I didn't want to practice in it. Yeah. Things like that. I remember Sefton Council did a thing about, we can train you to be an advocate for vulnerable people, and I thought, great, I'm going to learn some public speaking and some valuable people skills here. And I did, and I really enjoyed that. That went on my CV. You can create your own blogs, vlogs, videos, podcasts. You know, there's tons you can do to fill your CV that isn't the typical vacation schemes or pupillages that are important and great if you get them, but can be hard to get. And I don't like it when you just see people say, oh, it's not fair. Yeah. We know that, and, you know, in the best possible way. Life's not fair. Life's not fair. You've got to be a problem solver, not a complainer.
Yeah. And you know, think about, you know, someone like you in your position. So it's not as if you had any privilege. You know, you are living on a council estate, going to uni in Manchester, so you're having to commute, so you're losing a lot of time compared to most people anyway. Yep. You're working. Yep. And yet you can still find the time to volunteer and do these things. So yeah, you know, I think it's either Arnie or Michael Jordan or one of them says you can either, what's the quote now? You find a way or you find an excuse.
Yes, that's it. Yeah.
I've probably butchered the quote and probably attributed it to the wrong person,
I like
but
that. That's really cool. Yeah, don't just complain and use excuses. We know it's hard. We know it can be easier for people that come from a family of lawyers, and we know that. But there's no point just sitting complaining about it. That's not gonna get you your training contract or your pupillage.
And when you come from that, when you're coming from being 1-0 down, it makes it even more rewarding when you finally get there, doesn't it?
Yes, it really does.
And
look, we've been qualified now for well, we've been in practice now for 10 plus years, and we still talk about it. People probably get, oh, here she goes, the council estate story again. But it's something I'm really proud of, and something that, sets me apart from other people. So I'll never stop saying that we had to claw our way into this profession, and we had no insights or leg ups whatsoever. I'm really proud of it, and you will be too when you make it.
Yeah, and pretty much I was going through the same thing. So as you say, it's so hard to get these professional placements because there's so few of them and so many people competing. So I did the same thing, thought outside the box. I used to go around to firms, physically walking in with a paper CV. I would ring around. I've given the example of I finished my IP exam, did quite well. Thought, I like this. So there was only one specialist firm of IP attorneys in Liverpool. So I wrote to them and I said, I'm interested in this. And, have you got a couple of days for me to come in, do some shadowing, do some volunteer work? And they came back and offered me a placement. And, that all looks good. Likewise with, mini pupillages, I'd reached out to all the chambers. So you've got to really just think outside the box and think, what can I do? You can't just sit there and complain.
No.
Get out there and do something.
No.
Yeah. So yeah, and also, if nothing else, it's networking for you.
Cool.
Yeah.
You got another mistake to avoid? I was going to say a mistake to me. No. A mistake to avoid.
Yeah. So I think coming off the back of this, with networking, don't treat it as don't take a 50% approach to it, if I put it that way. There's probably more colourful language I can use on that. But don't be lazy about it. So, I get people who will send me messages on LinkedIn. They'll try and, build a connection, send me nice easy messages. I sometimes get one-liners. Hi, mate, can I have some work experience? Oh, I never thought you'd ask. Let me give you a mini pupillage. Would you like me to pick you up in a Rolls Royce for court? If you're going to send me a one-liner like that, guess what the answer's going to be?
Yeah.
I mean, full marks for trying, but 0 marks for effort.
Yeah, don't be lazy and don't beg either. I know it, once again, we know it's hard. We know how desperate you can sometimes feel, but when you can smell the desperation, it's not appealing.
No.
And we can tell that you've sent us a message. I get them. And it's well, I'm not a barrister.
Yeah.
I'm not in private practice anymore. So how do you think I'm going to give you a mini pupillage? But yeah, so you've not even took the time to look at who you're messaging properly. I know you've sent that message to 20 other people.
Yeah.
Especially with, AI.
Yeah.
It's so easy.
So obvious, isn't it?
To do it. But we can, even if they're not, as John says, we get the one-liners. But even if they are a bit of a paragraph, we can still spot the ones that are copy and paste jobs.
Yeah.
It's very, very easy to spot. So, yeah.
And I think stemming from the same point about, not being lazy, when it comes to, let's say, you're not just going to message someone like me on LinkedIn. Let's say you're going to write into a chambers or law firm or whatever it is to get some experience. Take some time, put a bit of effort into it. Don't just copy and paste your covering letters. Because that's what I would do. When I was looking for experience, I'd write to chambers, write to firms, send them a covering letter with a CV, and tailor it to that firm or that chambers. Just spend some time doing a little bit of research on them. It doesn't have to be hours and hours and hours, but at least make sure the letter is tailored. Figure out who the right person would be to address it to. Look at what they do. Tell them why. If it's a specific area you want to do, explain to them why it is you like that area, why you want to go into it, what it is you like about that firm. And, a couple of well-drafted paragraphs on a covering letter like that really goes a long way.
Yeah.
This video is brought to you by Speed Mooting. We are an organisation that help aspiring and junior lawyers. We run online and in-person advocacy and mooting competitions. We do online advocacy and public speaking training, and we run lots of other events to assist people on their legal journey. To learn more, visit our website, speedmooting.com.
And you've got time to put the effort in, because I know that this is moving on to advice, but I guess it could be a mistake if you flip it on the other side. We always say don't do too many applications. So you've got time to do, 5 to 10 great ones.
Yeah.
And likewise, if it's a chambers, let's use John's chambers, for example, Charthouse, you really, really want to work there. Well, keep an eye on their socials, keep an eye on what John's doing, because John's usually saying where he's going and what events he's involved with. Other barristers do the same, and get yourself down there.
Yeah.
So then you can put in your application. I went to the Northern Pupillage Fair and I had a chat with Nick. I had a chat with John. I love the type of work you're doing.
Yeah.
Oh, I happened to come across a post on LinkedIn where you talked about this case. These cases really fascinate me. I want to get involved in them,
Yeah.
There's so many ways that you can make sure that it's not a generic application you're sending in.
That's a point there, actually, because if you think about it, from our day, it was really just our
you-
day. It sound like I'm a pensioner.
In my day.
But, even like 15 years ago, there wasn't really that much use of social media, particularly by businesses.
Mm-hmm.
So all you really had was the website, whereas now you can follow the chambers, the firm, you can follow people who work there, so you can actually see what's going on there on a day-to-day basis. So you've got a lot more live information that you can use.
My best resource was when you used to go to like law fairs and you used to get those books, like what was it, like Chambers
and Partners,
the pupillage handbook and all this, and it used to have like 1 or 2 pages for each firm and stuff, and I used to sit there and imagine working there. But that used to list some of their clients, some of their cases. Occasionally you get like a day in the life of a trainee and stuff, and I'd be like, and I used to put stuff like that in the application. Those were like the best resources. But nowadays, kids, there's no excuse for not doing your research. There's information everywhere.
Yeah, it's all out there. I think on the same point of being lazy as well, we're talking about LinkedIn. People who do sales on LinkedIn, before you message me, do a bit of research. The number of times I get people go, so John, would you like assistance with your medical negligence reports at Charthouse Chambers? Look at what I do, and look at what a chambers is. Why would you message me?
Oh gosh, no, but it does make a difference, and you'd be surprised how often it happens where people copy and paste so much that they make glaring errors. There was something on LinkedIn the other day. I can't remember who it was. It might have been a Chambers or someone like the GLD, like someone making a funny post being like, "This is David. David made an application to us saying he really loved X area.
Yeah.
We don't practice this type of law. Don't be David."
Yeah.
Or something.
I think was it Mark Robinson doing that?
It could have been.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Mark Robinson did that. I think he said he's going to do a few posts, actually.
It was really funny.
And he was saying something like, because his chambers, he was saying, I quite fancy prosecuting tax cases.
It was.
Yeah. And he was like, well, number 1, our chambers don't prosecute. Number 2, we don't do tax.
We laugh, and I definitely fell through the trap when I was applying of getting so desperate. My friends still talk and laugh to this day. Applications to me was another job. So I'd have my actual job, I'd have uni, and then it'd be like, oh, we're all going out for a drink tonight, can you come? I can't. Applications tonight.
Yeah.
And it literally was like every spare hour was applications, and I probably filled, well, I know I did. There will have been a year when I will have sent out about 20, maybe more. And it's frustrating, but you just get so desperate and think, oh, I can quickly change that and it looks okay. I'll just send it. It's just another one that's gone. It's just another one. Yeah. You're wasting your time because they spot it instantly and you're never going to get through.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, is it your turn or my turn?
I can't remember. I think we just did about 6 in one.
It's done a million. I think one thing I'll say is don't make law the be all and end all of everything. Okay, and this goes for when you're at uni, when you're trying to get it, and even, 'cause if you're like us and like probably the bulk of people that get into it, you'll be finish uni and then you've got to get into it thereafter, make sure you've got something else. Now, obviously, if you're like us, don't really come from money, it's hard to have like an expensive hobby or anything. So it can literally just be, my thing was, I was into running. Costs nothing to go to the park and go for a run.
Yeah.
And that was my way of just, you do a bit of work and then spend an hour, go to the park, go for a run or what have you. And then, get quite into my PlayStation as well.
Mm-hmm.
So just make sure there's something else there that you've got going on in your life so that it's not the absolute be all and end all.
Yeah.
And I think, I'm talking about this, but it did get to the point whereby once I've been applying for a couple of years, it did actually start to consume me a little bit. And I remember having a chat with, I knew him because I think he judged at a speed meet years ago, and then I ran into him in the gym and I saw he'd started to go to my gym. And he sat me down one day and he said, listen, John, you can't like just make this everything because you'll just go absolutely completely crazy.
Yeah.
You need something else. And I think that not long after that, I kind of, changed tack, got into karting. Actually, it was not long after that I got into karting, believe it or not. And then, I had something else that was there that was going on. And then obviously about a year or so later, got my training contract and everything. So I think the key thing is just to not make this the be all and end all of everything. Law's great, but it can't be everything that you live for.
There's a fine line between ambition and obsession.
Yeah.
Don't go over to the dark side.
Yeah.
Luke. Yeah, it's easy to do, and by our nature as well, lawyers and aspiring lawyers, we are such hard workers, we are so ambitious, and law school is really intense, practice is really intense, like it all just is. And when you compare it to some other professions, I'm just your brother's just coming to mind for now, John. So John's brother is a tennis coach, and he works really, really hard at his job.
Yeah.
But he always says, doesn't he, oh, how do you do it? I couldn't work like you. All you're doing is working, John. And it's not. It's, we do have a nice balance. Sometimes we fall foul and we do too much and we take too much on, and we know that, don't we?
Yeah.
But other people looking in, like, don't know how us lawyers do it.
Yeah.
So it's quite a profession that is very demanding. So it's so easy to let yourself get consumed and to let yourself get burnt out. So you have to consciously, as John says, have something that distracts you and consciously make time. It's so easy to neglect yourself. So common mistake, don't do it. And get into that practice early on. So even as a student, make sure you have one day off a week, you go do something nice with your friends, and it's a pattern you can build, isn't it? So when you get into practice, you can still have that balance.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's interesting you say, comparing the lawyers to others, because I remember on my law degree, I did a non-law module, partly because when we got to third year, you got to pick your options, and there just weren't enough options that interested me. So I went and did international business as one of my options. And I remember I think we had an exam and we had to submit a piece of coursework as well. And I got a double first overall in this module. And I remember that the tutor came to me and said, I just can't believe like the level of detail you've gone into in this coursework, all the evidence that you've backed everything up with, all these odds. I was like, that's as law students, that's just what we're taught to do, So it's just crazy, like the different level on which we operate to. It's mental. Yeah.
But there we go. They are some common mistakes to avoid as aspiring lawyers.
Yeah.
Cool. Shall we do Ask Speed Squad, John?
Let's do Ask Speed Squad.
So for our listeners, if you're new here and you don't know what this is our segment where we answer your questions. So we'll answer questions on pretty much any topic. We've been doing this is our 87th episode. Yeah. Been doing this for a long time. And I don't think we've had a question yet where we've gone, oh, not answering that. I don't think we have. Correct me if I'm wrong, John.
No, not yet.
Not yet. So yeah, you can ask us about anything. You can ask us about our experience in practice, our experience as aspiring lawyers ourselves, speed mooting, what we do here. You can ask about John and I.
Go on, personal questions as well.
Yeah, we don't mind them, do we?
Yeah,
it's funny.
Yeah.
We go off into crazy personal segments all the time, so.
I joke about, the podcast I listen to where we're quite inspired by, and he started to get would you rather questions every week. Would you rather this or this?
That's
I hope
funny.
I haven't opened the floodgates there.
That is funny. Okay. First question.
Go on.
Is studying law still worth it? Depends who you ask.
It depends who you ask.
No, you know what? For all my complaints, and there's been a lot of highs and a fair few lows as well.
Yeah.
From private practice, but would I change it? No, I wouldn't. I'm still really proud, to be able to say,
yeah,
oh, we're both lawyers. I love it when people say, what is it you do? And yeah, I'm a solicitor. I'm a commercial solicitor. I was a property litigator in private practice. It's, it's a real sense of pride and accomplishment, and I'm so glad that I am a lawyer. And I really enjoyed studying it as well. I did. There were times when I was miserable. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I really, really enjoyed it. And it can come with some challenges. We've just been talking about, the difficulties with balance. But overall, it's a really, really rewarding career.
Yeah.
I would say. So, in my opinion, yes, it is still worth it. It's still a great path to go down.
It's funny you talk about this, saying, how proud you are to be a lawyer. It's crazy, isn't it? Like, and I've never really understood this, why there's just such widespread hate of lawyers in the general public. And I don't really understand where it comes from. So we've been trolled a little bit lately on our channel, and also me personally.
Really?
On LinkedIn, yeah. So I posted about a case that I'd won. Or sorry, Chambers posted about a case that I'd won.
Yes.
And this guy trolled Chambers saying, so I'm trying to think what it was. Long and short, charge got dismissed. And this person came over, so you're saying your client was guilty, but you found a process that was wrong or something like that. Just some petty comment.
Yeah.
And it's like, I was thinking about, well, no, because he's not been convicted, so he's not guilty, is he? But it's just that the general approach, like, people just don't like it. And it's really funny that these same people, because there's a lot of people, I reckon if you did a poll of the general public, I'd say probably more than half have a real dislike for lawyers.
Really?
Maybe not, but you see it a
not
lot.
true,
I hope
but
it's not, but whatever.
I know.
There's a general feeling of unease about lawyers out there, and if those same people, their kids went, "Oh, I'm gonna go to law school." Oh, great, son, well done, mate. Yeah, it's funny, just the hypocrisy, isn't it?
Yeah.
No doubt, I'm gonna get trolled for these comments. So yeah, if you're gonna troll me, sucks to be you. Anyway, but long and short, there is something really good about being a lawyer, because, and real pride in it, because we've got to work really hard just to get to a degree, because the degree itself is tough. I came from my A levels were maths, IT, and business, and doing a law degree was completely different, because a lot of independent study for once. That's a big difference between A level onto the degree level. But also, it's just such a different approach to things, backing everything up with evidence, going through case law, you got to support everything. So it took me a while to get my brain to shift to that. And even just, I think I've spoken about this before, studying public law, 18 studying it, I'm thinking, I can't get my head around why we're studying this. Just seems like politics to me. Obviously, I understand it now, and it's the underpinnings of our legal system and everything, but I couldn't get my head around that initially. But yeah, so there's a lot of pride there in, how hard you got to work, just to get the degree, get through your professional qualifications, whether it's LPC, SQE, bar course, whatever, and then finally make it, so get someone on one of these interview panels to say, yeah, you're all right, let's give you a go. And then ultimately, is it worth it? Because I suppose the question is, well, is it really still worth being a lawyer? Well, answering the question itself, is it worth doing a law degree? Even if you get to the end of it and you say, do you know what, I don't want to be a lawyer, the skills you'll build are brilliant, because people really value law degrees. To get through one, as I say, you need a high intellectual ability, and it's the analytical skills that you build. You'll understand so many processes, how different things work. So it's such a transferable degree in and of itself.
Yes.
But then I suppose if you do follow it through and you become, a silex, solicitor, barrister, whatever, it's a rewarding career. You know, it's amazing. Whichever way you go about it, whether you're doing non-contentious work, whether you're doing litigation, whether you're doing advocacy, it's a fun job. It's a fun job. I enjoy it, and I'm glad that I followed it through and ultimately made it to the criminal bar, which is what my overall goal always was.
Yep.
So yeah, I think it's definitely well worth it.
Definitely. Just before we move on to our next question, I've just remembered something.
Okay.
You mentioned Silex there.
Yeah.
And if you've been listening to us over the last few months, you'll know we've spoke a fair few times about the Mazir case.
Yeah.
And a little tiny update popped up on my phone earlier. I haven't looked at it in any detail, so I can't say any more than this headline, but it's a point of interest, so we will mention it. Silex are appealing the judgment.
Ooh.
Yes. Because we've talked about, haven't we, how Silex is arguably the branch of career professionals that the judgment impacts the most.
Pretty much, yeah.
The Law Society or the SRA, I can't remember which one it was now, released guidance, didn't they, that pretty much put the practicing solicitors at ease.
Yeah.
But the Silex people, I think there's still a big gulf in what this means for them. So it's interesting that it's Silex appealing the judgment. So watch this space.
Yeah.
And if you don't know what we're talking about, there was an episode 3-4 episodes ago, I can't remember, but the Mazur case was in the title of the episode. So just go search it and you can listen to that whole discussion about this groundbreaking, controversial judgment.
I think I mentioned this a few weeks ago, but it's interesting. You haven't really seen anything from the Bar Standards Board on this. I mean, it only affects a small proportion of barristers, but there must be barristers out there without the litigation. Well, actually, I wonder. Well, no, actually, no. Going to make a point then. Now, forget the point I was going to make. But barristers without the litigation addition on their practicing certificate, who must work on, they'll do casework. They're working in an office either because they solely do that or they balance it with advocacy. Does it have an impact on them? And we've not really heard from the Bar Standards Board about that.
Yeah, because imagine if it's like they need to be supervised by an authorised person. Imagine you're a barrister working in-house and then you have to go to like a team leader or a solicitor and get your work approved.
You can't even sign your own particulars and sign your own claim form and things like that.
It's interesting.
Yeah. It's interesting that we've not heard from the BSB on that.
Maybe there's just not enough of them making a fuss that it's not happening publicly.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe something is happening behind the scenes.
Yeah.
We don't know. Anyway, one more question.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's see. I've got a few here, so I'm going to find a good one. What's the right way to follow up when you meet somebody at an event?
Ooh.
I don't think there's really a wrong way. Well,
there are lots of wrong ways.
I was thinking, no, scratch that. Yeah, scratch that.
Lots and lots of wrong ways to do so.
I think the good old-fashioned way, but you can't beat a professional, well thought out LinkedIn message.
Yeah.
Or email if you've got their business card.
Yeah, something like that, So I mean, depending on what the nature of the conversation was. So, if that person had offered you something, follow it up, send an email, nice, and obviously within the mention what was discussed. Nothing's been offered to you, but you're thinking, this person might be a source of, potentially a job at the end of it, or work experience, whatever. Just quick email, LinkedIn message, whatever it is, whatever details they've given you. Nice to meet you last night, day before, whenever it was. We had an interesting conversation. Be great to keep in touch with you. Something that straightforward. And it just keeps that line of communication open. I probably have spoken about this on the podcast. So when I was a student, I would go to court and observe in the Crown Court. And I remember going to Liverpool Crown and I saw this guy pop out of court. He had a gown on. And I said, I'm a student, just watching some cases. Anything interesting going on in your court today? Oh, I had this. So we got chatting away. And I think I must have been brash and said, if you got... Because he worked for Merseyside Police. Oh. Which was interesting because I didn't realise they had their own lawyers and not even lawyers that go to court. That was really, really interesting. And I said, any chances for any work experience? He said, yeah, here's a business card, drop me a line. So literally if it wasn't that day, it was probably the next day that I emailed him.
Yeah.
And literally, I thought, yeah, strike while the iron's hot. And he said, yeah, here's the relevant lady in the office. Drop her a line, get it booked in. Boom. Just straight in. It's been offered. Don't leave it hanging. Strike while the iron's hot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool. Shall we end it there, John?
I think so. I think that's a good place to end.
Mm-hmm.
So, I hope you've enjoyed listening to this episode. I've enjoyed recording it. Haley, have you enjoyed recording it?
I've enjoyed recording it, John.
I think I've switched it around. Normally, I ask the audience last, don't I?
Yeah.
The audience came first today. If you're still listening at this point, either if you want to if you're feeling brave, pop a mistake that you've made. But if not, just pop in the word mistake.
Yes.
So that brings us to the end, and we'll see you again next week. Cheerio.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.